My name's Nick Tannehill. I work at Firefly Studios as marketing department.
So Nick, what are you showing here at PAX West?
We are showing Stronghold Warlords, which is the latest entry in the Stronghold series. It's kind of a mix of city builder and RTS. So you've got all the economy stuff from your city builder, simulation games, all those resource chains, and then you've got the RTS gameplay as well. The main difference between this title and previous entries in this series is that we have something called the Warlords system. It's essentially like a grand strategy layer that sits atop the kind of core RTS gameplay. So the idea is they are AI warlords all around the map that you can recruit to your cause, you can steal them from other players, you can level up their castles, you can get them to send you troops, send you resources, launch sieges against the enemy. And the idea is that you kind of just sit back if you want to and just like let the warlords just do your bidding and win that way, essentially.
I've heard people describe it as Warcraft 3 meets Age of Empires.
I'll take that as a massive, massive compliment. That's not a million miles away yet. It's probably a lot closer to Age of Empires. Imagine Age of Empires, but you can build like actual castle walls with like burning oil and like gunpowder traps and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, more kind of like siege-based, more sort of medieval siege-based.
But there's a little bit more unit management than in like Age of Empires as well.
Yeah, like there's 16 units in the game, 10 pieces of siege equipment. You kind of have to like micromanage all of those in like a regular RTS. It's not one of those sort of newer RTS games where you've got like squads of troops. Each unit is individually controlled. And yeah, sort of kind of to recruit a troop to your army, that troop needs to be an available peasant in your castle. So you need to be popular to attract people to your castle. Then you need to give them armor. You need to build the bows, to give them bows if you want to build archers. So there are loads of resource chains that go into creating your army in the first place. And then sending them out to battle. It's not just like spam click to create 300 like Zerg. And I love StarCraft, but you know.
So like you talk about your warlord system, because when Warcraft 3 introduced heroes to their RTS, it changed the way the game played dramatically. How is it changing the way your game plays?
Yeah, so the warlords themselves, it's more about their castles. So they're not individual kind of like, they are individual units on the battlefield, but they're not sort of like troops that you level up. The main thing you're leveling up is the castle itself. So the more you level up a warlord castle, the better defenses it'll have, the bigger it'll be, the thicker the walls will be, the more towers and archers it'll have. But you also unlock new abilities. So warlords can send you specific resource types if you need more stone to build walls. You can launch siege attacks at enemies from warlord castles. You can buff your own army. You can get loads of fire oxen sent over to you. So we've got a unit which is essentially, and this is a real thing from Chinese medieval warfare, they would strap sort of like fire essentially to the rear end of an oxen and have them like run into the enemy lines to kind of break through. So that's what happened in history. We've strapped gunpowder to the oxen. So that's kind of one of the other sort of interesting units that you can have sent to you from the warlord castles.
What have you and your team learned from your past games you've applied and improved upon in Warlords?
Basically what we're trying to do is get as much 2D style gameplay into a 3D title as possible, because I think what people love about like the Age of Empires Definitive Edition, Stronghold HD, all those kind of re-releases of old titles, is just the kind of precision of control. So when you build a wall, it's all based on a grid system. The combat itself is very sort of like, you know, tight and intuitive. Like when you click to do something in an RTS, you want the troops to just go and do that straight away, and like we want to kind of bring as much of that 2D gameplay across as possible. Another thing we've learned is that people love the weird accents and the humour from the earlier titles, so we're trying to bring that in as much as we possibly can. But yeah, we've got quite a dedicated community who kind of like aren't afraid to tell us what they want, so we're constantly listening, and yeah, we can identify what they love about the older titles.
RTSs usually live on PC, but we've seen a lot more on console lately. Do you guys have plans for a console release?
We would love to do one. At the moment, the game is so built with PC and Steam in mind that we're only going to do PC. But yeah, it's a possibility, but nothing to confirm at this stage. But for us as well, like keyboard and mouse just seems like you need that kind of control with an RTS, especially when you're dealing with like all the simulation, city builder stuff. So you can adjust taxes, popularity, you can give your peasants more alcohol so they like you better. And it's just way easier to do that with a mouse and keyboard than with a controller. But I respect developers that do RTS and console. That is hard.
So if you have that like kind of Aged Empire itch that you want to play, you can play this instead.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're all looking forward to new Age of Empires games, but yeah, this is a very, very different kind of game. Like in Age of Empires, I love that it's kind of like pure RTS, but your economy is kind of just like a means to an end, whereas in Stronghold, your economy is literally half the game. Like we have game modes in the classic games where it's like the goal is purely economical. So it's like just build a huge castle and like have all these amazing resource chains going on, and it just feels like quite relaxing to just see all your resource chains going on. So in Stronghold, yeah, it's kind of a very different title, but it will scratch that historical strategy itch.
So when does your game come out and what platforms will it be on release?
So we're doing Steam, and all we're saying at the moment is 2020 because no game comes out on time ever in the history of video games. So we're just saying 2020 at the moment, hopefully in the first half of the year, but to be confirmed later.